Welcome to Improv for the podcast. On this week's episode, we have Chantal Rochelle, multi-hyphenate creative. She's going to be sharing with us her improv journey and how she's improved her life. Let's hit it. All right. Welcome to Improv for the podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Michael Lee Evans, and today we are joined by the fabulously talented multi-hyphenate creative, Chantal Rochelle. Chantal, how are you doing today?
I am doing good, Michael. Thank you so much for having me. It is a heater outside. I feel like that's a furnace here in LA, but yeah. I'm here and present. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just on my way over here today, got that text message, it's like, don't use power or anything. And I have this deep-seated fear in the back of my head that we're just going to lose power halfway through the episode.
Oh my gosh, coming here, I was like, are we just not going to have power ever again? What's happening? I always think the worst case scenario in these situations. Yeah. I got that alert too. So
yeah, it's like the grid's done, like no AC, no lights.
I'm going to go back home to like nothing is going to be on.
yeah, it's going to be so sad, sad. All right. Well, Chantal, to get us started today, we are going to be playing a game just for me to get a chance to get to know you a little better, to help us get in the groove of improv for the podcast. This is a game we play with every one of our guests to start off our episode. Have you ever played a game called Three Things?
It sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar. Okay, so how this game works for those of you at home, I will be giving Chantal a category, and you will have to list three things within that category. The spin, however, is that the category will be related to something in your personal life. So we call this Three Things, but it's personal, right? Because it's about you and gives us a chance for you to rapid fire off some facts about yourself.
Let's do it.
All right. So with that said, how it'll work, I'll name the category. I'll say, these are three things. I'll name your category. You'll list three things. I'll count them off as you go. You ready?
Ready.
All right. These are three things. First category, best vegetables.
Spinach.
1.
Brussels sprouts.
2.
Zucchini.
3. Ooh, Brussels sprouts for sure. These are three things. All right, next category. Jobs you've had.
Oh, man. Everything. Social media manager.
1.
Creative producer.
2.
Supervising producer.
3. These are three things. Very nice. All right, and third category. Favorite interviews or videos that you've done.
These are great questions. Debbie Allen.
1.
Oh, my goodness. Missy Elliott.
2.
Eddie Murphy.
3. These are three things. Oh my gosh, Missy Elliott, Eddie Murphy. Okay, I have so many questions.
Eddie Murphy last.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic.
One of my greatest moments in life.
I definitely. I'm feeling envious from this chair. Missy Elliott too. Oh my gosh, music makes me lose control. So
same. And when I talked to her, I lost every sense of control. So thanks, Melissa. I appreciate it.
Yep. All right, but to loop back on that first one, Brussels sprouts. I'm with you.
Oh my goodness, a little Parmesan on top. A little char grilled Brussels sprouts. Oh my.
Yep.
Heavenly.
Yep.
Heaven.
Oh my gosh, so good. They're raw, not into it.
No, raw, no. Get away from me.
Yeah.
But if it is grilled, if it is baked, I'm all for char grilled. Specifically, when then you put the Parmesan on top and you put it back in to bake longer. Ooh. Are you kidding me? A little garlic on it.
Oh my gosh.
I actually want some right now.
Yeah. Even despite the heat, I'm there.
Yeah.
Roast them up. Let's eat them right now.
Sign me up.
All right. So we already know your best vegetables. You told me about 3 of the jobs you've had. But I want to hear, what's the worst job you think you've had in your life thus far?
Without a doubt, Chuck E. Cheese.
Ooh.
I worked at Chuck E. Cheese from 16 to just about 18. And I said, the day that you guys make me be Chucky, I'm out of here. And I made it for a year and a half. And they're like, hey, so-and-so didn't come in today. We need you to be Chucky. And mind you, I was a party host, like the hostess who, made sure 5-year-olds had the best day of their lives.
Yeah,
there are kids running around here who have never forgotten their 5th birthday, thanks to me.
Wow.
Okay.
Icon.
I'm like, you're welcome, Jonathan. You're welcome, Cindy. I don't know where you are, but you're welcome. So they made me put on, and mind you, Chucky, it's cool or whatever, but inside of that Chucky costume, it's foul. So I attempted to put it on, and when that odor touched my nose, I was out of there.
Yeah.
I was out of there. Called my mom. She picked me up. Never went back. But yeah, it's have to say Chuck E. Cheese. Although the pizza at Chuck E. Cheese is so underrated. It's divine.
Just that cheese pizza.
My gosh.
It's classic,
Classic.
So I'm with you there, and I I salute you for putting on the suit.
Thank you.
You know, Charles Entertainment Cheese is someone that I think we grew up with.
I know. Chucky's been there through so many pivotal moments in our lives, you know, and when I had to have that, you know, bestowed upon me, I said, Chucky, I'm sorry to do this to you, but this ain't right. This ain't right, Chucky. This ain't right.
Yeah, he's been through a lot.
He has been through so much. I wonder how he's doing now.
I don't think well. I don't know how they're still open. I think about that a lot.
Very often, I'm like, wow, Chucky, you just still out here.
Yeah, and you're not there, like, you know, raising the bar for like the quality experience.
I know, like the party hosting hasn't been the same. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. Wow, man. Okay, I imagine that would be tough. I can just like think about the different things that would come up working in that job, besides having to put on the suit too. Just working with kids, and it can be demanding.
Yeah. You never knew what kind of kid you were going to get. You know, you didn't know if you were going to get the kid who was like just grateful to have the best birthday ever. The one who's like, I want 50,000 tokens. I need this. Like, imagine that girl from Willy Wonka who was like, Daddy, I want it now. I've had that. Oh my gosh, Veruca Salt. I've had that version at a party once. And you know what? I made it happen. So after those series of events, I was like, it's time to hang up this Chucky costume. It's time to get out of here.
Well, thank you for your service.
You're very welcome.
All right. So I got to ask, your 3 interviews, you said Debbie Allen, Eddie Murphy, Missy Elliott, right? Yes. Or Missy Elliott, then Eddie Murphy. That was the order. Out of those 3, and this might even be tougher, which one do you feel was most impactful to you?
Oh, great one. I would have to say Debbie Allen. She... I'm from Houston, born and raised Houston, Texas, as well as she is. She was born and raised there as well. Her and her sister, Felicia Rashad, the iconic Felicia Rashad. She had a moment in the interview where when I asked her what does she want her legacy to be specifically to women, and she said, I want you to know that you can walk across my back. Chills went up my spine, and to be able sitting across from her, knowing everything she went through, Alvin Ailey, you know, discrimination. She had to move to Mexico, and her mother moved her and her sister to Mexico because of racial discrimination, and so she had to chase her dreams in another country. I'm floored, and it was an honor to talk to her, and I was just like, oh my gosh, the chills that went through my body. It was a really, really beautiful moment, and she was so sweet. She was the kindest. So. That was it still sticks with me. Yeah.
Impactful for sure.
Very.
Yeah, it makes you go like, wow, like what you've had to experience, and just now you're here in this interview with me. It's incredible.
Like, what is life? What is this? It's wild.
Definitely. Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, we're off to a hot start. A lot of great 3 things. Thank you, Chantal. I appreciate it.
Thank you. That was fun.
All right.
It's really fun.
So, are you ready to talk about some improv?
I'm ready.
Okay. So, how we usually start this off is I want to know the first time in your life, whatever age it was, that you first heard about improv or learned what it was.
I'd have to say high school. I was a theater kid, so grew up knowing what not understanding. You hear the word improvisation, improv, but not understanding it specifically, like what it entailed until high school. When I was in theater, it's like, okay, improvise. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Just freeze? What's happening? What's improvise mean? So it's becoming this new character, this being outside of yourself, or if it is channeling parts of yourself, do it here. And so that's when I first heard about improv. I would say I was probably like 14, 15, that understood, oh, wow, this is like legit actors do this. Oh my gosh, this is studious. And also the respect that comes with like good improvisers, like improvisers who off the cuff, like instantly just thinking about, wow, this is not easy. And so I was watching this randomly, was on late at night, 1 a.m., was watching Rush Hour, all of them, 1, 2, 3.
Oh man. Yeah,
Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker.
That's a great combo.
Like the improvisation that they do, and that like half that stuff was on the script. It's coming off, but like
no way.
It's just so good. The comebacks, it was just really good. And so like growing up, like seeing that on television, growing up watching Martin, like that's one of my favorite. It's iconic. It's an iconic show. Watching that, and also growing up watching All That, like. Hello,
Yeah.
iconic improvisers, but not knowing the word for it, not knowing what they were doing. All of that, it's like, how much percentage of that was improvisation? Significant chunk of it. And so growing up watching that, it's like, okay, now I'm in high school, I can name it.
Yeah.
I can say what it is.
Yeah, like all this comedy that was so influential to you growing up, and that you remember now, you hang on to. You're like, wait a second, nobody wrote that. They just bam in the moment. They had that chemistry with the other person on set. Whatever it was, they're just bam, boom, bop, and I think that's really cool. You had the moment of like, wow, like these movies, these shows that I watched, I now understand what that was exactly. They weren't just like they're making it up. There's a term for it. There's a whole art dedicated to it.
A world, yeah.
Which, any of those people that you listed on that show, like, it's everyone in there. They knew what they were doing. They're pros.
They're just pristine, just like comedic timing. Yeah. One of my favorite improvisers is Regina Hall. She's a fantastic actress. I just saw her recent film, Me Time, and Honk for Jesus, and it was hilarious. And it was, it's 90% of the film is just her and Sterling K. Brown. They're just off the top of the head and scripted. It's like mockumentary style, just seeing now that I'm in improv, I'm like studying these people in a new light. Like, oh my gosh, it's not easy to carry a film for 2 hours, just you and your co-star. I'm like, this is like a master at work, right? And so watching that, it's just been really beautiful to be on the side now and be like being able to see that. I couldn't tell that when I was younger, like, oh, they're improvising. Now I can really pick it out. Yeah,
you think it's all, just written on a piece of paper. They're memorizing lines, they're saying them, and they're pretty funny. But
exactly.
Oh my gosh, it's so much more electric than that.
It is.
I think, that movie, Honk for Jesus, is a great example. Like, I know I've seen the trailer and I've been wanting to see it.
Yeah.
So, now you're just selling it even more. Now I'm like, all right, I gotta go. I gotta do that this weekend.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a good one. And so I was just really was proud of just seeing how they executed that. So it was Jordan Peele, executive produced it, and Daniel Kaluuya. So I'm like, of course they did.
Yeah. They're always making good stuff.
Always doing good stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. All right, now I'm like, all right, I gotta go watch it.
Yes, all right. Got to.
So what did that leap look like for you then? So you learned about improv in high school, kind of like light bulb moment of like, so many of my favorite actors and performers, they have this skill. I don't know what it is. Now I know what it is. When did you go from knowing what improv was to the first time you actually tried it yourself? You got up on stage. Maybe you were just playing an improv game. Maybe you were in a show and forgot some lines.
Yeah.
What did that look like?
I was a freshman in college. Go UT Longhorns. Hook 'em horns. Yes, I was a freshman there, and UT has a very recognized theater program. Yeah. And I took an improvisation class, and that's what it was called, improvisation. It wasn't called improving. And then, I signed up for it. I was like, I don't know if I'm, ready for this, if I want to take this leap, if I want to dedicate so much time to it. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I signed up for the class, I just felt this different side of me, like, come out that had been suppressed for a long time, because I grew up like the animated kid, the kid who was in theater, the kid who I was just like always bigger than life. Yeah. And when you grow up, especially a little Black girl in the South, like sometimes you can feel diminished. And so there were times where I felt like I had to shrink and I had to just kind of close myself up
couldn't be you.
And be in a box and not be myself. And so when I got to college, I had my independence because curfew where? Like what?
Yeah, you're away from home.
I'm away from home. Yeah. And so with that comes exploring other aspects of myself. And thank goodness I had supportive parents, specifically my mom. She supported all of my aspirations. So whenever I was like, I'm going to do theater, okay. And I'm going to do this, okay. Having that as like in the household, someone who's like, I'm going to take you to theater class. I'm going to take you to this. She took me to get headshots. She took me to get all of these things at 14, 15 years old because she knew I wanted to pursue this. And so college was the first time where I was like, oh, I can really do this. Like, this is something that, like, after taking the first semester of improv, I just remember my instructor being like, you should take this seriously. Yeah. And I was like, me? Seriously? I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, Diane. Like,
shout out Diane.
Okay, shout out to Diane. But yeah, I felt very alive. I felt like I was able to tap into this part of myself that I suppressed, but only around people I felt comfortable with,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
I think that when you know, around people who see you and understand you, it's just like you can breathe, right? You can exhale. And so having that with my family is like, they knew I would make my mom laugh, I would make my sisters laugh, and then I'd go in school and kind of like shrink myself a little.
Yeah.
And my mom would be like, why don't you, like, you're so talented and gifted, why don't you use this? And so after taking improv in college, I was like, oh, I want to do this.
Yeah.
That fire reignited in me. And I was like, yeah. So I've been doing it ever since. And so since I've been here in LA for 3 years, it'll be 3 years in March, finding IFTP has been a blessing, because when you grow up in like spaces that you feel othered, having a sense of community, there's such community here.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah. I feel that here compared to so many other places, even in LA, like that idea of community is foreign in a lot of places,
very
especially
much so.
in the improv scene.
Yes.
I'm not going to name names of any places.
Yeah, shots fired.
But I hear what you mean on that.
Yeah.
'Cause I think it's something that's not always easy to find, and especially in arts, like spaces in particular can be very, competitive and judgmental.
For sure.
And it can get really messy.
It can. And I think another thing that's important is to get out of I had to get out of my own way for a lot of things. I think it's so easy for us to have the messages and the thoughts of others sink into our being and sink into our psyche, that we kind of lose sense of who we are and who we want to be. And so I just stood in my own way for a long time of like, oh, we'll just go to college, just do the major that, makes sense, do the things that make sense. You can just put this dream of like theater and acting in the background. It's just like, it's just a pipe dream, but it continues to find me, and it continues to fall into my lap. It continues to knock and say, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
And so I think it's something that I feel so like. I was literally talking to one of improv friends here in Ray, and we were just talking after class last Saturday, and we were talking about how instrumental it is for our mental health.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I was like, no drugs involved. I felt like I was floating after class because it was so fun. It was so communal. It was so like, it felt like home.
Yeah.
Because you can you're literally just leaving class with people who you probably just had to do 10 different animal noises with, and you feel safe. It's a safe space.
Yeah.
And so for me, I enjoy it because it's like, wow, this part of me gets to be free.
Yeah. And I think you mentioning like mental health in regards to improv, I know for me, that's something I can definitely relate with. Like just coming here and that opportunity just to show up in a space, like you said, it's safe. You're with people who are kind and care and will listen to you, and you'll listen to them. There's so much respect. And just getting to get up and watch people do funny and hilarious and strange things. And you also having the chance to do that. You can get up there and fail. You can get up there and fly. And everything in between it all feels good.
Yeah.
And it's just being a participant in it just for that 2 hours, 2.5 hours is, like you said, I can relate to that feeling of
For
like,
sure.
I'm high. I'm not, but I'm high.
Yeah, okay, exactly. It's like, but am I?
Yeah,
but it's also one of those things that like, after, you go back into the real world, it's like, no, keep this with you.
Yeah.
Like, keep this going. It doesn't have to stay in class. I think that's what I'm learning and getting better at, because when I took time after college and just didn't pursue or, feed that part of me, lived in New York for almost 6 years. And I took improv here and there, but I wasn't committed like I am now to making it consistent. Oh my goodness. Like, I always felt like some part of like a switch in my brain was off, right? It just like, okay, this part of you is not being lit, so it's just going to stay dim. And so coming here to Los Angeles, I was like, girl, you are in LA. Hello. I mean, it's right here. Yeah. What's your excuse? Again, back to my previous point, getting out of my own way. Yeah. And so I was like, when I stopped doubting, like my therapist would tell me like the whole saying of like, when you have these thoughts in your head, it's like, who said that? Who told you that? 9 times out of 10, it's you. And so I was like, oh, I don't think I'll be able to commit to it. But you have these days free. This excuse. But where did you get this from? Like, I just kept making up all these excuses. Then one day I was like, I saw Matt posted the IFTP workshop earlier this year, and I was like, I'm gonna go. And I went.
I mean, that takes courage, just to show up at some random improv thing. Even that alone, that's scary. Like, cause you don't know what you're going to be walking into. You don't know, like online. I think I found IFTP in a similar way. Like I saw something on the internet.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess I'll go.
I know. And then Matt, I just saw his headshot. He's like,
yeah.
I'm like, yes, I'm going to this improv class.
Yeah. Once you meet Matt, he's the founder of IFTP. Oh man.
Walking sunshine. And I think that also, like, having a teacher, instructor, a person who sees and wants to pull so much more out of you. It's an honor to be able to take his classes because he is a master in what he does. He's also hilarious.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's annoying how funny he is.
It's like
he's quick.
I low key, high key take his classes also for the comedy bit that he does.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like, are you
Side
kidding me?
comments,
It's so
everything.
good. Like, Ben, Jamie, Ava, Michael, you guys are fantastic improv instructors and amazing. And so whenever I don't think I've taken one of your classes yet. But
I'm new on the scene. It's okay.
You're new on the scene, but hey, this guy is really good. You when you did the part-time or the joint class with Ava, I was like, okay, that was good. That was good. But I just think everyone here is great. And
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think, wow, yeah, gosh, you've given me so many rich answers. There's so many things I want to pick apart here. Okay, so let's rewind a little bit. So you had mentioned, thinking about times in your life, right, where someone has encouraged you, right, pushed you, both in improv and like greater as a whole, getting into the arts and performing. And I mean, nowadays that means so many things because there's so many different opportunities out there. But there have been key figures in your life. I think you mentioned like your mom and family encouraging you in that, which is huge. I mean, that kind of support coming from home is so important.
It's vital.
And can that stays with you. And then you mentioned Diane, professor you had in college, right? Yeah. Shout out Diane.
Yeah, and my 5th grade teacher, Miss Debbie Stevens. She
shout out teachers.
Allowed me to be my full self in class. She didn't diminish me or tell me to be quiet. I got that a lot as a little girl. Be quiet or stop. Yeah. It wasn't even about talking. It was just like I was big. My personality was big.
You were just trying to be yourself.
And being myself. And so that was be quiet, simmer down.
Yeah.
You're too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I listened. And so Miss Stevens, 5th grade, she had my sister years prior. And so she knew the last name. She knew who we were. And she was just so kind to me. She let me be the line leader. She let me do like my dances. She let me make people laugh. She just let me be me. And I've never forgotten that. I still keep in touch with her.
I mean, in 5th grade, that's
5th grade. It's monumental. It's a foundational time in your life. And so I just remember being like, okay, so this is something that I don't have to diminish. Yeah. I don't have to, tone down because it's like at home. I'm doing theater. I'm literally doing theater in the living room. My parents are like, okay, it's just Tuesday. It's just what she's doing.
Act 1.
Yeah. When Barney was on, I remember you could not tell me I wasn't, hey, Mr. Knickerbopper, boppity bop. Like, I thought I was a part of the group.
Oh, gosh.
Like, what
about that.
Throwback, right?
Yeah.
And so I like it the way that you boppity. Like, I did a whole routine to that. So, like, being young and, like, having these influences and having, like, I remember seeing Grease and Flashdance and all of these. I just wanted to recreate it. Yeah. I wanted to be and I had permission to do that.
I can do that.
Yeah, literally. Well, exactly. While everyone was playing with their dolls, I was reenacting scenes from iconic movies. The Imitation of Life is my favorite film. Iconic film. I will reenact scenes. I'm like, oh, mama. Like, I don't know. Oh, mama, I'm sorry. It's just like, makes no sense. And I used to get my mom's nerves with that. Like, I make her mad, like, oh, mama.
She's like, oh.
She's like, Jesus, this kid. It's like, God, my child.
That's a great line to pull.
Exactly. Yeah. And so same thing with my sister. It's like, we can't talk to each other without saying sister from Tia and Tamara show. Yeah. Like, it's ingrained in us. And so, like, I think being able to just like now showcase it freely, like improv has given me the courage to be like, give 0 Fs about the opinions of others. I mean, it's a work in progress always, but like the growth, I'm like, I will break down the hottest new dance in the middle of Ralph's because my song is on and I don't care who's listening. When Beyonce's album dropped, I was like, the amount of places that I'm going to randomly bust down into song 1 and then dance 2, it's going to be a problem. Was pumping gas the other day and I was just like, let's get it be. Like, I didn't care who was watching. Didn't care.
Wait, which song came on?
Church Girl.
Oh, Church Girl.
Church Girl. Yeah. But that isn't like, it's like from front to back. I said, Beyonce, this chokehold that you have on my being, I need you to release it, but also give it back momentarily, but then release it again because I need to breathe. Yeah. I haven't listened to anything else.
Like, I have a life.
I have a life, Beyonce. Okay, some of us had to work.
Yeah, I got responsibilities too.
I have responsibilities. Just kidding. She's like,
stop breaking my soul.
I know. Stop, please. I love you. But I just love having the freedom to basically be and just not feel restricted. Yeah. Of course, there are parts of myself that I'm still working on and healing through that, but like being in improv has helped that a lot.
Yeah, that's huge. And I think thinking of your example of your teacher, right? It sounds like that teacher was able to find an effective way of like, I see what's special about this kid. And I don't want to shut them down. Like I want to find ways for them to like channel that energy. Yeah. So that you could, still be you, but in a way that, that works. It's like, that's like a good teacher can do that.
Absolutely.
And I think now as an adult, you have the opportunity, you don't have to worry about a teacher or a parent. It's just you're in control. And now you have the chance to just be you in any way that you want to be, which.
Yeah. And also showing up, like, I think about the next generation, like my niece, she just turned 6. My gosh. I think about how like I want to instill parts of, these things in her now. It's like, you can be this quirky kid if you want to be. Yeah. You can, I want her to know that she doesn't have to diminish that. And so I'm always doing those TikTok dances with her. Yeah, those like funny faces. And I'm just always like, express yourself. Like, dance, do this. Like, we're in the aisle. She's so embarrassed. I'm like, come on, let's do this. She's like, stop it. I'm like, listen. Okay, you know who you're on is. But any opportunity now, I'm just like, why not? Yeah. Like, especially after quarantine and the world shutting down these past few years, I'm like, why are we not living more? I feel like so many people are just existing and not living. And I was like, I feel like I was just existing.
Yeah. And as things are like, turning the corner a little bit with this whole, I don't know that it's exactly over, but it's better. And it's like, have we not seen that we have an opportunity here to be different ourselves,
Yeah, absolutely.
I really like that piece of wisdom from you right there. Yeah, it's like, hey, we had a lot of time to sit and think about what we want to do. Now those opportunities are popping up again. Are you going to seize them or not?
Exactly. It's like you had basically 2 years to be like, hey, who am I to be after this? Who am I to be when, life doesn't go back to normal per se? But what do you do with this new reality? And so I was like, I'm going to get out of my own way. I'm going to do things I've been putting off. I went skydiving.
Wow.
I was like, yes. It was amazing. I would do it again and again. It's this thing called Hulk syndrome when you land, that they don't let you drive your car afterwards because, my place didn't. You have to sign a waiver. And the main reason is because you feel like you could lift a car. So after you jump, the adrenaline is I felt like She-Hulk. I felt like her.
You're ready to go.
I want to lift up like a tree. I want to chunk it across. Like, it was wild. I was like, yes. But the adrenaline of like living, I was like, there was like, my butt imprint was in my couch to how long we had to sit, in quarantine. Yeah. It's like, okay, I wanted to live. So doing improv, I took a pottery class. Like, what?
Oh, that's cool.
It was so smooth and relaxing, finding things I enjoy. I went to a salt cave where it's like Himalayan salt. I have no idea if it works or not, but I did it. I went. I was like, hell, okay, let me breathe in some damn salt particles.
Yeah. Did
Let
it
me
hurt
see.
you?
It
No, I don't
didn't.
think
It
so.
sure didn't.
Yeah.
But let me tell you who didn't have sinuses after that. Boom, me. But did it return the next day? Yeah. That temporary moment, it was great.
It was a good
It
moment.
was a good 24 hours. But yeah, I find it in different parts of my life of me just pulling it out. Also in meetings at work. That banter at the beginning.
Hey, that's important, especially like on Zoom. Like,
Because I'm like, okay, we have to hear how Philip's, kids are doing. Okay,
It's an icebreaker question. What's your favorite cleaning product?
Yeah.
That was a real icebreaker question I had
Was
a couple
it?
weeks ago at work. I was like,
What, really?
Yeah.
Your favorite cleaning product?
yeah.
Wow, that tells you how their life's going.
Yeah, I was like, it's kind of sad.
Very. What's your favorite? I don't know. The cheapest option that's at Target? I don't know.
That's a good way to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So you kind of brought it up naturally, and I want to hone in on that a little more because I just love how you shared how improv, like its influence over your whole life, like outside of just being in class, right? How it gives you this courage and this will and desire, one, to just embrace being yourself and to find opportunities, to just not hesitate, go head first into things like skydiving, pottery, Himalayan salt caves. Like those are three like very different, but all equally cool things.
Yeah.
That you just have the courage and the willingness to do, which is huge because I can see how that like ties back into improv about hesitating of going into a scene and just going with whatever comes to your head. So in regards to your work and your career, one, if you could just talk a little bit about what you do and how you think what you've learned or practiced in improv can apply to that or maybe help in those scenarios.
Yes. So I like to call myself a multi-hyphenate creative from social consulting, social media consulting, creative producing, video producing, posting. These are my passions in one. So I'd say for me, working in the media entertainment landscape, it's been impactful because I'm always having to be in spaces where I'm talking to people. I'm sharing space with people. I'm pitching ideas, conceptualizing ideas, seeing things to execution. So it's like, there's never a time you're not talking to another human, right?
Yeah.
And so it's different from like when I used to specifically just focus on just social. It's like, okay, I'm on the internet all day, heads down, creating, boom, limited interaction.
Yeah.
And now I'm interfacing with so many different people and it has allowed me to be quicker on my toes, to be more attentive as a listener because I was like, wow, I really wasn't listening like I should have before. Okay. Being more attentive is key. In meetings, understanding like I cannot stand that dead noise like at the beginning of a meeting or when someone's done talking and then there's like silence for like, why has 60 seconds passed and we are still, what is going on?
It's a killer 60 seconds.
It's painful.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, how can we cut this dead air? Like, how can we just get in there and, make it, I guess just not this lull. So moments like that, I didn't think about that before.
Yeah.
In my day to day with like understanding, like people can be also like improv. We do some weird stuff in improv.
Oh, yeah.
Some weird stuff, like bizarre, and it's so cool because it's like, where else can you do this?
Yeah.
Well, where else can you pretend to be a whale who's smoking a joint? Like,
that sounds dope.
Where else? I mean, it's just hilarious, the stuff that we do.
Wait, I'm going to put you on the spot. What does a whale who's smoking a joint, what does that look like?
Oh, I see what you did there. Okay.
You put it out there.
imagine this is his, right here, this is the, what you call it?
Fins.
The fins. Is that what we call whales? Fins? Flippers? What are whales' arms called?
Whale arms.
Whale arms.
I like fins or flippers. I think those are both good terms.
Okay, flipper. I'm going to do it with flipper.
I'm far from an expert, so your guess is as good as mine.
So what's going to happen? It's going to be a massive joint. It's going to go in between here.
Dang, like right in there?
Right into the flipper. And then as it's swimming, puff.
Oh my gosh. Hey guys.
Oh my gosh. This is quite the weather.
Don't forget to exhale.
And then his friend will say, What weather? We're in the water. Yeah. That's how I imagine that the whale conversation will go.
I appreciate your attention to
You're
detail
very welcome.
about the placement of everything, the
It
logistics.
has to make sense, the logistics, because he doesn't have fingers. So I'm thinking, how is he going to hold that joint? He's got to put it. How did he roll it? We'll never know.
I know.
We will never know how this whale did this. But what matters is he had a good day.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it.
I don't know if he shared it though, because it's like, yikes, whales are already up against so much. The least they deserve, whales deserve joints. They really, the stuff that they go through. Yeah,
that's a lot of humanity's fault too.
It really is.
It's like our bad
I can
whales.
imagine if you saw that. I'd be like, you know what? I'm not even mad at it. Not mad at it.
Yeah. They got pollution and boats and just all that, like that big old plastic garbage patch that's out there in the Pacific.
Yes.
Like the whales didn't do that.
The whales they're just out here chilling. Yeah. I mean, if cats and dogs can have their version of THC, why can't whales?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It's a good point. Mm-hmm. You've given me something to think about. I think, like, if you were running for office, I honestly think you could put that on your platform.
All ocean animals except for sharks and eels, because eels terrify me. We have no idea where eels come from. I want you to know that.
Is that true?
There's where do they come from? There's no scientific evidence.
I can't answer that. So yeah, you got me.
Where, like, eel sauce? How did you make it? I have many questions.
Squeeze the eel. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a towel, right? You wring them out.
But isn't it like if you touch it, you'll get electric? I have so many questions. True. I have so many questions.
Maybe.
After this, I'm going to Google to confirm.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to pull up the Wikipedia page for eels.
Because where do they come from?
Watch a documentary or something.
An eel doc.
Throw it up on YouTube. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay.
The shock of your life.
See, now I'm just thinking about the ocean, because the ocean is. Oh man, I don't eel so good.
Oh.
Now I'm just thinking about the ocean, because the ocean is so crazy.
The ocean is insane. Did you see that? It was like a thing on Twitter that showed how deep the ocean is. Yeah. It was like, get the Burj Khalifa
tallest building in
times
Dubai.
10 or like 20. It was insane how deep it is.
Yeah, and it's so hard to comprehend it too, because I've never seen the Burj Khalifa, like not in real life,
Yeah.
But just like thinking of like tall buildings, they don't even count. Like it just doesn't.
It's wild. So I'm like, no, I can't even go past 10 feet. So
I mean, yeah, like I think of like a swimming pool. You're like, yeah, it's like 10 feet deep. You're like, dang, that's more than me.
It's double my length.
Yeah. But then, oh man, oceans. Oh gosh. All right. Yeah.
So vast, so large.
We're switching to an ocean podcast, and we're just going to talk about all the things we don't know.
Have swishing sounds
about the ocean.
Just going to have wave noises.
Seagulls. I was like, I don't know what kind of noises do underwater creatures make?
Oh my gosh, there's Nemo. Oh.
Yeah. Whoa. I'm glad he's found. Yeah. Oh man. All right. All right. Incredible. Thank you for the ocean content.
You're very welcome.
So bringing it back on track. I think, what stands out to me is just like you brought up so many things. Like a big part of your job is collaborating with a lot of different people. And I know like you're working on interviews, you're producing content, you're, like you said, multi-hyphenate. That means you are like covering all aspects of any sort of like digital production job. Like new media is a huge deal right now. I mean, it's going to continue to be. We're literally doing it right now. But just how improv can like be so helpful in that, right? Because you're building relationships with someone, just like you do in a scene, right? You're locked in with that other person. You're like, we're on the same team. We got to make this work, right? Yeah. You're yes-anding when you're collaborating on an idea, a script, whatever that looks like, right? There's so many like little moments where improv skills can slip in there, but also bigger moments too. And even at the beginning and ending of a meeting, just that ability to kind of keep it loose. Oh, that goes a long way, I'm sure, for like the people who are also in the meeting, It
really does. Yeah. And you're just kind of this relief of like, okay, it doesn't have to be so uptight. Like we're not curing cancer here. Like it's just like, let's relax and, make sure that we are being intentional, but at the same time, like we don't have to be so serious all the time.
Yeah. Because like you said, like in any meeting, like it's going to be more effective, more memorable, and generally more positive if, you can win everyone over and make them feel a little more comfortable too.
So true.
Just, everyone chills out a little bit.
Yeah, people calm down. They feel more relaxed, comfortable. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Someone broke the ice.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, bring it back to the ocean, talking about ice. Here we go. Now, another thought I had, you mentioned listening, because I think listening is something that is so, so important. And
Yeah.
of course, definitely working in a creative field when you're working with someone, and wanting to, like, when you're collaborating, you want to understand someone else's ideas, kind of their vision for something if you're working on it together, as well as you want other people to listen to you too, as well. Listening goes back and forth, right? It's not a one-way thing. I think in improv too, we know how important it is in any scene, right? You need to take the information that's given to you. And if you're missing that, you are missing out on a rich, rich scene.
You are. Yeah. You're missing out and you're not plugged in. And it's kind of like you're, kind of listening to respond and not listening to kind of just engage and interact and like be with that person.
I like that.
And so I think that that's when the disconnect happens, and then you just kind of go on a tangent, you go elsewhere. But being connected in the scene, like I had a scene last week where it was Zany and Zing. I forgot the name. It's like Zany and Zingy. I forgot. But one person is like this zany, weird person, and the person is normal. So I was the zany person because, duh. And I was this creepy person. We were at the bus stop, and I was like, so, where are you going? And it was like creepy. And so I was like, we had to set up the scene. But I had to pay attention to the cues of the scene, how my scene partner was responding and how she was behaving. And that kind of helped me put together the scene.
Yeah.
And so it just flowed. I was paying attention to her body language, paying attention to, okay, she was taking in the role of the serious, and I was like, okay, I'm stepping into zany. It was just happened naturally. So it was in the body movements, it was in the facial expressions, it was in just like, I just was paying attention. If I would have been in my own space, like my own world, I would have missed all that.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, yeah, it's very important to pay attention. You miss a lot of context clues when you don't.
Yeah, yeah. Ooh, that's a good way. Context clues, right? Because that's like both life, like, hey, context, and like an improv scene. It's huge, the information that's given and presented to you. It's so easy to miss when I think, like you said, you're listening to respond. Just, that's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. That is a rich statement. Everyone, write that down right now. Write it down. Write it down.
Okay.
Write it down.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, that's just, like, what's your intent when you're listening? Are you listening just because you want to say something?
Exactly. Or are you being very intentional of like wanting to engage in the conversation, not listening to, let me just speak. It's like, it's not everyone wants to have everything be like, I remember talking about this with my sister. It's like, sometimes people just want you to hear them. You don't have to solve the equation or solve the issue. It's like, can you just listen? Can we just vent? And so it's also just like, let's just like, nothing, we don't have to have a conclusion here.
Yeah.
We just have a conversation.
I spoke to someone, the person I interviewed last week. His name is Liam. I don't know if you know
I know
Liam.
Liam. Yeah, I've had class with him. Yeah,
Liam.
he's super dope. He's really good at improv.
Yeah. Oh man, I control that guy.
Yeah, I never go after him. Whenever there's a scene, I'm like, I'm either not going at, I'm going two people after Liam. He is so good.
That's a good strategy, but I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit either.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Toot your own horn a little bit. You know what you're doing. You are
I'll
a funny
go right
person
after
as well.
Liam. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Maybe next
do it
time.
sometime.
Next time I'll go after you, Liam. Yeah. Maybe I'll do a scene with you, Liam.
There you go.
Boom.
That could be pretty incredible. I think.
Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that, Michael.
Yeah,
See,
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Liam, what I thought of your statement about like what's your intent with listening, right? Mm-hmm. He had mentioned to me this quote from a friend where he has this friend who often in conversation asks a question to a friend and has no intention of responding. He just wants to ask the question to hear what that person has to say. And I kind of love that. And that's something that's stuck with me over the past weeks since we did our interview. And you just made me think of that, bringing up that story, because that's huge. And I think even if you do respond to someone, right, it's having an organic response versus that calculated one. You're not like, okay, it's almost my turn. It's almost my turn.
It's like, okay, it's not a game of hopscotch. Like you're not, just let it flow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's so true both in life, and in improv as well, and in a scene, because I think you can see, if you're sitting and watching someone up on stage, you can see if there's that person, right, who's up there kind of like trying to play those moves they had like pre-calculated in their heads.
Calculating it, yeah. And it doesn't make the scene fun. It doesn't make that gray space. Let it flow. Like, let it just happen.
Yeah, yeah. We want to see like the 2 or 3 or however many people are up there. We want to see them building something together.
You don't have to have an agenda.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Like, don't railroad just to make it about, it's me, it's the me show. Yeah, and I think that's so important. So I just love that you brought that up, because that's something that's come up like twice, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, we got to keep digging at this wisdom here, because it's, it's amazing how like it seems almost universal, and how important that is, and we realize it. All right, Chantal, I got to ask you.
Hit me.
You've got a lot of improv wisdom, which I appreciate. And oh my gosh, you've done, I think, such an amazing job finding ways to apply it to your life and realizing how helpful it can be to you.
Yeah.
And just hearing the benefits of, you feeling more comfortable being yourself and finding ways to just put yourself out there, be courageous, do things that a lot of people are scared to do. I mean, I'll be honest, skydiving, I hear that and I get a little nervous. So I want to know what's next for you in your improv journey. What does that look like? Do you have goals or something that you're working on in your own personal improv, or where you want it to take you?
I want to get back into theater productions. I have a friend who's works at a production, and I finally, she was talking about auditions for like months now, and I finally told her, I said, can you consider me? Yeah. I if you don't advocate for yourself, who's going to know what you want? Yeah. Like the saying, closed mouths don't get fed. If you don't speak up for yourself, if you don't advocate for yourself, who's going to know? You have to be your number one supporter. And so your biggest champion, right? And so for so long, it was either my mom or it was my sisters. I'm like, okay, what do they think? But I'm like, no, listen to yourself. Like, what do you want to do? So I would love to tap back into that. Being in productions, being in plays, and maybe doing an improv sketch show one of these days. You never know. Yeah. I mean, I think that would be fun. Just getting better, strengthening my skills, perfecting that more, because I'm a Capricorn. I'm a perfectionist. That's one of our, gifts, downfalls. Who's to say? But yeah.
Okay. That's really cool.
That's what's next.
And I kind of want to dig into that a little bit, because I'm also a theater kid, so I can very much relate to that. What is there like, I mean, obviously being on stage, you want to act, right? You want to perform. Yeah. Are there other sides of that you're also interested in exploring?
I'd love to be in a commercial. Yeah. If there's anyone casting, or if there's an agent, what have you, I want to be in a commercial so bad. Yeah. Yeah. Like if it's a Colgate commercial or a toothpaste commercial, one of those car commercials where they're always driving up the mountain or driving up a hill. I'm like, where is this place? Yes. They're never driving to in and out. They're always going up this mountain. Yeah. It's like for XXAPR, you'll find. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're always. And do they ever arrive? Do they ever get there?
It's about the journey.
It's about the journey,
not the destination.
Legend has it they're still driving up that mountain right now as we speak.
They stopped for gas several times.
They have, and they're just continuing to lap around.
They might just be lost.
Or I actually think there's no exit. Yeah.
Okay, so commercial work, and then continuing to perform. I think commercials, too. When I think of that, I mean, I think nowadays a big thing in commercial work is like having improv skills too, which you have, so you're in a great position there, because I think oftentimes that like nowadays actors, they bring them on set and they're like, all right people, these are some beats we want to hit in the script. We're Geico, 15% car insurance, but play a little bit, see what you got, which I think is, I mean, you've already got those skills, and you've been working on them and honing them and only getting better. So like you said, you got to advocate for yourself, because you have the talent, right? You know you have the skills. You just got to find some ways to get in that position, right? Because you're prepared already.
So true. Apply it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like weirdly relevant, but I have a friend who is way more in the scene than I am. And I did a commercial audition with him yesterday for Taco Bell.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was just, something you film
Congratulations.
at home. It was very exciting. I mean, I feel lucky because I got invited to do it. It was not me. It was my friend.
Taco Bell, Nacho Bel Grande. My stomach doesn't like it anymore. Yeah. Because I'm not 18 anymore. Yeah. But it's like, hello, no.
Yeah. Can Can you give me, speaking of 3 things, can you list 3 Taco Bell items that you enjoy?
Nacho Bel Grande.
Excellent.
Double decker taco. They discontinued it, but I still make it happen.
Rest in peace.
I'm going to give you into a little fun thing I do. I get a bean taco, just bean only, and then I get the crunchy taco. I open up the bean taco. I put the crunchy taco in the middle, and I wrap it around the crunchy taco. You have a double-decker taco. You're very welcome.
That's yes anding right there.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Enjoy. And also the Mexican pizza.
Oh.
So 2 out of 3 things are discontinued, but I love the OG Taco Bell action. So.
Yeah. Some of the stuff they don't have as much anymore, but like going back.
I know. Back in the day. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I feel you. Those are all really good selections.
Oof, yeah. What about you?
Gosh. I got to go number 1. Just because this is a childhood
Number 1, the
classic.
fact that you know what number you okay.
Yeah.
That tells me you're a regular.
Oh, not the combo. Sorry. My number 1.
Oh, I thought you were saying the number 1.
Oh, no. I don't know.
I was going to say,
is.
you are a dedicated Taco Bell customer.
No, combos. I think as a kid, we never did combos because those were like more expensive, you know?
Yep, same.
So it was more, we didn't touch those.
And we weren't getting those huge like drinks. What do you
it
mean?
was
You're
like,
a kid.
That's an unnecessary expense. No
not
drinks.
getting that for you.
So I don't know what number 1 is. But I just the bean and cheese burrito.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I was just that's what hit. Mom, we'd pull up to Taco Bell and it's like, all right, bean and cheese. It's like $1. Like, oh my gosh, the value there. I think it's still pretty cheap. So just number 1, bean and cheese.
Okay.
Number 2, the cheesy fiesta potatoes.
Oh, yum.
Those I don't think they're as good anymore, but they used to put little chives on there.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh,
they don't put the chives on anymore.
Oh, you need that fresh, like green onion taste. Come on.
It's so good.
Yeah. And then number 3,
delicious.
That's a Mexican pizza. That's just
it's a classic.
hits it out of the ballpark every time.
It's a classic. So good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to know I'm speaking with someone with such excellent taste.
Yeah, during my 9th and 6th Street and UT, we stumbled across the Taco Bell.
I've been there, Dirty Six. Yeah.
Yes, Dirty Six. Yeah, we're like, where's Taco Bell? Because it stays open until like 3 a.m.
Yeah, yeah. It's always there.
It's always there. Always there.
All right. Okay. Well, I think you've got an exciting improv journey ahead of you.
Thank you, Michael.
I'm excited
to see
where it
that.
goes.
Thank you.
So I've got one more question for you, and then we're going to jump into some games.
Hit me.
All right. So my last question for you. Do you have a piece of advice you would want to share with someone who is either thinking about getting into improv? Yeah, let's just say someone who's thinking about getting into improv. They haven't tried it yet, but they're on the fence. They're like, whoa.
I would say get out of your way. Do it. What do you have to lose? It's so welcoming. I feel like I'm talking to the person. You're sitting at home. You're on your couch. Your life is passing you by. Remember that guy from that commercial? You're sitting at home. You know what to do. Take improv today. IFTP. You heard me.
I mean, I'm sold. I felt compelled to stand up from this chair.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, it's a community. It's fun. You can be whoever, do whatever, become whatever. And it just helps you feel more like a fully realized human being, at least for me. And I enjoy it. And the people here, it's very great.
Yeah. I'm sold. All right. Thank you, Chantal. You got me in. I'm looped. I'm hooked.
You're coming to class?
Yeah, I'm moving my butt.
Cool. Moving it. Move.
There it is. That's all I got.
Oh, my gosh.
All right. You ready to get into some games?
I'm ready.
Oh, man. All right. So for this first game, we're going to camp.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited for camp.
Oh, I love camp.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Yay, camp. Yeah, I brought my bug spray. I'm so excited. So here at camp, you and I are actually going to be the head camp counselors.
Okay.
And it's going to be our job today. We're going to be speaking one word at a time, going back and forth. So our job is to welcome everyone to camp. Just welcome them, tell them what the name of the camp is. And then we're going to list 3 rules for camp.
Okay.
The 3, big rules of camp. We all know what they are.
Okay.
Of course, we'll get into that in just a moment. So yeah, again, we'll speak one word at a time, right? We'll go back and forth, introduce camp, say what the name is, give us 3 rules. And it's important when we're listing those rules, right? We'll probably go like 1, right? We number them off.
Okay.
Any questions for me before we head off to camp?
No, bags are packed. I'm ready to go.
All right. And then just at the end of the scene, I'll make sure to black us out.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Just like we do in IFTP class. We black out at the end
Or
of
like
the
Matt says, black out.
Yeah, I am but a fraction of Matt's blackout. That's one of my huge aspirations.
I love it.
Just to get to Matt's level
King
of
of blacking out. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Woo, yeah, camp. Oh my gosh, so excited.
We're here.
Welcome.
To
Camp.
Peniel.
Yeah.
We're
So
happy
to
have
you
here.
the
Day
is
about
to
begin.
rule
Number
1.
greet
Everyone
before
eating
your
oatmeal.
after
Brushing
your
eyebrows.
then
Put
your
slippers
boots.
on.
Then
Eat.
oatmeal.
Number
2
don't
forget
to
pay
your
bill.
for
Camp
tuition.
unless
You
don't
have
the
money.
you
Can
work
for
it.
Number
3
prepare
your
equipment
bag
every
hour.
because
You
never
want
to
get
eaten
by
bears,
and
antelope,
cheetahs,
marsupials,
rhinos,
and
chupacabras.
blackout. Oh my goodness. Wow. I am so excited for these campers.
Wow,
They are so
they are going to have the
prepared.
time of their life.
Those are some of the
Like-
most detailed and thorough rules I've ever read, actually.
They've got to, scrub dishes in the back.
Yeah.
They can't afford tuition. How they got here, we don't know how they got here without paying, but they're here because we don't discriminate.
Yeah, it's
Camp is for everyone.
Camp has a work study program.
Yeah, work study. Mhm.
Yeah. I was
You pay
for a
off that
second there-
debt by wrangling in the
I thought we were going to get
chupacabra.
into a student loan situation with camp. I was like, wow, that's relevant. Oh,
Well,
man.
yeah, fitting.
Oh, boy. Whew, whew. Okay. Well, thank you for helping me set up camp.
You are so welcome.
Our campers are going to have an amazing time.
Best time ever.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next game. So this next one is called the ABC game. This is a classic one.
Ooh, classic. Oh my gosh.
Alphabet. We love the alphabet,
We're
right?
ready. We're ready.
We're using it right now. And for the ABC game, just for those of you if you don't know at home, how it works is that we're going to go ahead and begin a scene. We'll get maybe a suggestion of a location or a relationship to help us get started. And what we'll have to do is go through the scene, and each of our lines must begin with like the next letter of the alphabet. So Chantal, her first line might begin with the letter A, my line B, C, D, and then hopefully you know the rest from there. So that's our job, right? And since we don't have a live audience, they're all at home, hopefully cheering or booing us. It's going to be our job to hold each other accountable.
Got
in this.
it. Okay.
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 So if one of us, God forbid, goes a little off track, just, we can give a little,
Okay.
I kind of sounded like
That
a cow
wasn't an
mooing.
engine?
No.
That was Michael. Just want everyone to know.
Yeah, it's the improv engine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just a little, like, whoa,
That was the engine.
that was the engine. Just, give a little something so we know. All right. So here we go. Let me go ahead and get our random suggestion. Ooh. Whew. All right. So we are at the beach.
Okay.
Excellent. Alma, pass the beach ball.
Billy, how are you?
Can't say I'm doing bad. I'm at the beach.
Don't look bad either.
Every time you see me here in my wetsuit, I know you're smitten with me.
Forget about the other gals. I'm the one you need to be looking at.
Golly, it's quite the proposition. I have to admit, I've had my eye on you, Alma.
Hello, why wouldn't you?
I have been scared to say something for a long time. I'm a pretty nervous guy.
Just because you dated my sister doesn't mean anything.
Kathy, yeah. It was tough when I was with her because she was so close to you, but she wasn't you.
Listen, we weren't identical twins, just fraternal. I know I say weren't. She hasn't talked to me since.
My fault. My fault. I shouldn't have gotten involved with Kathy, and I'm sorry for that, Alma. I just dated her because in truth, I wanted to get with you.
No, don't blame yourself. It's not all your fault. I kind of had some parts in it.
Okay. I appreciate you saying that. It means a lot and helps me better understand that maybe there's a path for us going forward.
Probably it's for the best.
Question for you. Would you like to go on a date with me to the movies?
Really? The movies? Isn't that where you took Kathy for her first date?
Shoot. You got me there. Okay, I'll come up with a better idea than the movies.
Thanks for being original.
Understand that Kathy broke up with me because my dates were so boring. But for you, I'll do better. Kathy was an opportunity for me to practice, you know?
Voting for either of us, I gotta know. Who would you choose?
Well, in this last election, I am a registered independent. So I voted for strictly Green Party candidates.
Xylophones are just ringing around that ballot box, aren't they?
You know, the Green Party may not have won this year, but they will next time.
Zendaya is in the headlines for being a badass superstar.
Blackout. Yes. Yeah, we made it all the way through.
And randomly throw in Zendaya because what else?
I mean, yeah, that's a tough one. There's like three things you can. Zendaya.
Zebras.
Yeah.
I was say zebras and zoo.
Zoo, yeah, which just ties back to zebras. So,
Yeah. It's like.
I mean, I think you made the best choice.
I think so too.
What was there?
You know, Zendaya was just waiting. She's like, hello, I'm here.
Yeah. All right, we got one more game. Here we go. So this one is a little game that I kind of pieced together myself, but I'm pretty interested in it. And this is going to rely heavily on you. I'm going to ask you, you're going to get a suggestion for a random object. And you are going to need to describe for me and answer a couple questions about the history of this object.
Okay.
What it is, where it comes from, no matter what the questions are. You're the expert. I know nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. So it's called the history of. All right. You are going to explain to me the history of perfume. Perfume. All right. So let's go ahead and welcome. Oh my gosh. We have this historian here on perfumes. Oh my goodness.
Dr. Cynthia Bellingcourt.
Oh my gosh. Dr. Cynthia Bellingcourt here to tell us about the history of perfume. Oh my goodness. We're so happy to have you here today, Doctor.
Thank you so much for having me, Charles. It's been a minute. I haven't seen you since the Lancôme Paris conference.
Yes, of course.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here. Oh, the history of perfume. Where does one begin? Originated in the early 1700s. A young girl was walking in a meadow, and all of a sudden she smelled this fragrance. It was her gardenias. The flower was so fragrant, and she said, "Mother, do you smell this?" And her mother was none other than Chanel. And she said, "Oh my gosh, darling, we must bottle this up instantly." And then they started grinding the gardenias, started passing it around the neighborhood, and one by one, people began to smear the gardenias on them. Then, one day, the little girl came home. All of her gardenias were stolen. And you know who it was?
Who was it?
It was Givenchy across the street.
Of course.
And they said, you know what? Not only do we have gardenias, we also have lilies. And we're going to make our own fragrance. And then word started to spread even more. And the goddamn Gucci's took both ingredients.
I've heard about their house.
Oh my gosh, the house. When do you see that garden? But years passed, the Gucci's collected everything, and Chanel and Givenchy didn't have all the ingredients they needed. So they made a pact. Let's make our own fragrances, and we'll split the profits, eh?
Wow.
Givenchy, Chanel, and Gucci said, let's start a coalition. And they did. After that, they started to develop the perfume one by one. Years 1800, 1900s come, and so many different perfumes now roam the earth from the roots of their ancestors, gardenia and lily. And every time a young girl goes to pick up that perfume and sprays it, a flower blooms in its place.
Doctor, I had no idea that perfume's origins were centered around so much treachery.
I know.
Theft. I mean, I feel like I'm listening to the description of Game of Thrones over here.
I know. The sweetest things.
The different houses, the
I know.
families.
It's been a journey.
Wow, incredible. Doctor, I have to ask, because you're so educated on perfume. Do you have a personal favorite perfume, Doctor?
Oh, I must say, there's a brand called Victor and Wolf.
Victor and Wolf.
Oh,
It's made of real wolves. Oh my gosh.
Real ROLF Wolf.
Oh.
I know it's hard to understand, me darling. I have to say the mist, the fragrance, the floral, the musk, it just blends well together.
Wow.
And it'll last all day long. So I must say that's my favorite thus far.
Incredible. Wow. I have to ask one more thing about perfume, because, I mean, it's history. You've got a favorite scent. What is the best way for one to apply perfume to oneself? Is there a certain method? We've seen the spray, and you walk into the cloud. Some people spray it on their wrists and dab it on their necks. But surely one such as you might know the ultimate method for applying, not too much, but the just right amount of perfume.
Excellent question. I think one should point the perfume away from themselves. Spray it 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and then run into the mist. What will happen is each drop will hit different particles, and then it will evaporate onto your skin. And darling, it will stay there all day.
Blackout. All right. Oh my goodness. That was incredible.
These were fun games.
That was incredible. Wow. Just a few moments ago, we had the presence of a doctor in the room.
A doctor.
Explaining to us. I certainly learned a lot. And I hope, as with every episode, I hope you brought your notebooks, because there was a lot to write down. So let's go ahead. Thank you again to Chantal Rochelle, multi-hyphenate creative, for joining us, for sharing her wisdom, her experience with improv, and her talent, of course, as well. Thank you for checking out this episode of Improv for the Podcast. As always, we'll be back next week with another one. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Improv for the Podcast was created by Matt Moore and Michael Lee Evans. Edited and produced by Michael Lee Evans. And finally, presented by Improv for the People. Interested in more IFTP? You can visit us at improvforthepeople.com or on our socials, such as Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Remember, new episodes are released weekly. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.